stuff. The question is now, we've talked about IAP, we've talked about ads. Is that it? Is there anything else? And here to tell us all about it is Mike Hines from Amazon.
Oscar, that's a great question. Is there anything else? Actually, it's really great following this panel, because one of the things you guys get now is that in order to make in-app purchasing really work well for you, it takes some work, doesn't it? I mean, it's not just as easy as building a game and then after you finish deciding to throw a store on top of it. No, I mean, we listened to some very experienced leaders here tell us about how they need to redesign their game and re-architect game loops to make sure that you can get good in-app purchasing experience. And that's hard to do. Making money with ads is hard to do. I mean, you can't buy users fast enough to earn enough money in ads to make up for that. Well, then there's premium. Premium is difficult because, boy, the cost of the barrier to entry on premium is really significant. And if somebody does decide that it's worth enough to pay, well, you've just capped your total income now, haven't you? Unless you can scrape together some money for revenue. And this is a significant enough problem that what we've found is that depending on the app store you're in, somewhere between 40 and 60% of the indie developers out there are not making enough money to actually support themselves as a studio. So at Amazon, 60% of our developers actually make enough money on their last game to fund development of their next game. Vision Mobile calls this the app poverty line, and for indie developers, it's about $500 per app per month. And really, only 40 to 60% are making it. That's really hard, and that's really sad. So one of the things that we've done at Amazon is taking a look at how we can actually generate additional sources of revenue. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, who am I? My name's Mike. I've done 4 different startups. I've worked for 2 Fortune 500 companies. If you have some pain, I've probably been there struggling with you on that. So feel free to come up to me and talk to me afterwards about any of my experiences that might actually, be informative or maybe serve as a cautionary tale for you. The 3 things I'm going to talk about today are actually selling more things, building a fan base, and then turning that fan base into revenue-generating spectators. First thing, sell more things, like T-shirts. And no, I'm actually not kidding about T-shirts. I mean, really. Now, most of us spend a lot of time focusing on how to make money inside of our game. In-app purchases, ads, premium. We have a very intense inward look, which is why the handle's on the inside of that cup. Not very often do we look outside of our game and look how we can actually use things outside the game, one, to support our in-app purchases, but also to generate revenue. And T-shirts actually do a really good job of that. They help establish our brand, improve retention and engagement. Yes, that's actually true. And they can generate additional revenue. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those details. By establishing your brand, basically, I mean, you guys have seen T-shirts with Nike on them, right? And, well, Nike's like a shoe company, right? No, granted, they make a fair amount of money now, I think, on T-shirts and shorts. But they're getting a lot of brand awareness out of that. And you've seen your favorite car. You've seen your favorite sports team, maybe even your favorite beer logo on a T-shirt. That's done so that people who aren't consumers of that brand see that other people have an affinity for that brand. And hey, it's interesting. If you see a really cool logo of a beer company on a T-shirt, you might ask that guy about it. Same thing if you see a really cool image from a game. Especially if you're a gamer, you might ask about that. And that's pretty cool. And that's where we're going to help improve retention and engagement. Because that image you can put on a T-shirt is not altogether unlike the T-shirt you'd get from finishing a 5K. I mean, Oscar, you finished a 5K. Yes, I'm going to pick on you. When you finished your 5K, did you get the T-shirt?
I did.
He got the T-shirt. Okay, the 5K is over. He's done. But he bought the T-shirt anyway because you know what? He's proud of having finished. And honestly, when I beat the boss at level 10 on my friend's game, Dude, I'm not sure it was harder than the 5K, but it took a lot of time and it took a lot of work. And when that boss death happened, I mean, we're talking blood and guts and bits of zombie everywhere. I mean, it was really cool. I want that. I want that shirt because I beat the boss at level 10. And I'm going to wear that shirt around. People are going to ask me about it. Or if I'm part of a really high-performing clan or a high-performing team, and we've got some skins that we've purchased or we've got some really unique avatars, make those available on T-shirts. And as part of that clan or part of that group of avatars, hey, I may want to self-identify with that. I mean, think about the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, they actually won a Super Bowl not too long ago. People buy the T-shirt not because they forgot what year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, but because they want to identify with that. They have an identification need, and you can generate that. Now, when somebody buys a T-shirt, they have an investment in that game. They're more likely to stay in that game for longer when they have a larger financial investment in it, and they're more likely to tell their friends about it too. And that's a very strong mechanic. And finally, you can actually use T-shirts to generate revenue. Now, not one of us got into the business of writing games because we want to have boxes of T-shirts sitting in our kitchens or living rooms and then have to mail them out and deal with returns. That's not good. But what would be cool is if the 97% of players who don't want to spend 99 cents on an IAP item, hey, maybe some of those people would be willing to fork out 20 bucks for a shirt. Brian McIntyre from formerly of Backflip Studios, he found this out, that he attracted an entirely new audience when he made T-shirts for Dragon Veil. People who would never spend 99 cents dropped 20 bucks to get a T-shirt. A T-shirt is easy for a grandma to get a grandson, not so much power-ups. So all of that's possible, and it's going to be easy because if you just supply the game art, Amazon acquired a whole bunch of T-shirt printers when we bought a different company a while back, and we didn't know what to do with those T-shirt printers. Well, we said, tell you what, if developers send us game art, we'll make T-shirts for them. And we happen to run this really big online e-commerce website. It's really easy for us to put up pages to sell things. So tell you what, send us the art, and if somebody orders something, we'll go ahead, we'll print the T-shirt, send it out, deal with payments, we'll handle returns, we'll deal with all of that. So tell you what, you set the price, and when someone buys it, we'll take out our costs of printing it and sending it, and then we'll cut you a check for the rest. It's actually really that simple. So we'll give you the tools online to do that. And actually, Amazon's not the only one that does this. I mean, people like Cafe Press do this as well. They'll print the shirt. We'll go ahead and maintain that page for you on Amazon.com, which is something that only Amazon does. And we'll take care of providing a tracking station so that you can actually see how well your T-shirts are doing and find out how much money they're making for you. What you do is simply provide print-ready art. That means using GIMP, or it means using Photoshop or something like that to create a really good high-resolution image. You don't want your T-shirt looking crummy. No one wants to buy that. You need to pick the type of shirt you want, the color you want your design printed on, and then you just send it to Amazon. And that's it. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to take any T-shirts. And when someone orders one, we'll print it, we'll send it. So even if the only person who ever buys one of the shirts is your mother, ask me how I know, you'll still make money. You'll still get, if you set the list price for 20 bucks, your choice what you want to set the list price for. We take out our cost for printing the shirt, and then we'll send you a check for the rest, or actually we'll transfer the money to your bank account. Anyway. So yeah, I made $7.68 from my mother, who actually bought one of my shirts for my game. It was kind of cool. I wasn't at anything except the cost of sending the art up to Amazon, but now at least my mother's wearing my game shirt around her knitting community. This is what your page will look like on Amazon. Dragon Veil has this really cool Prism Dragon that they've put up there. That sells a whole bunch of shirts. Now, if this is something you want to do, get a copy of this presentation afterwards, or you actually take out your phones and take pictures of this, because I'm going to share with you the tips that we've seen that make really good T-shirts, and how to make sure you can actually sell a whole bunch of those T-shirts, both in your game and out of your game. So I'm not going to read through those, but you can get a copy of the presentation later. Next is building a fan base. Okay, what is a fan base? A fan base are people who are going to watch your game, spectators, and then people who are going to be influencers and content creators for your game. Now, I have a whole nother 30-minute presentation on building a fan base and how valuable a fan base can be. What I want to do with the short time though that I've got is I want to cover spectators. Now, you all know that esports is a thing, right? And it's not just filling the World Cup Stadium in Seoul, South Korea for a League of Legends championship. It's also doing things like filling Madison Square Garden for a semifinals. But it's also little people and little games too. I mean, it's certainly there's a lot of money concentrated in the big games, but everybody's game can get some traffic. Just to give you an idea of the kind of traffic that's out there, I'd like you to play along with me on this for a bit. How many man hours did it take to build the Great Pyramid of Giza? Any guesses? Shout something out. All right, quiet crowd, not a problem. 33 million hours is how long we think it took to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, the most popular video on YouTube, does anyone have an idea what that is? Yes, I'm not kidding, seriously, Gangnam Time is the most popular video on YouTube. And we have spent 140 million hours watching that video. Ouch, it's a little embarrassing. Right up until you think about March Madness. March Madness, the college basketball tournament we have here in the US, got 640-something million hours of people watching college basketball. And if someone says they don't have time to put the dishes in the dishwasher, just think about that number for a minute. All right, now, how much time do we spend watching other people play video games? 4.8 billion hours. 4.8 billion hours. And that's just on Twitch. Microsoft is getting into the game. Google is getting into the game. It's not just Twitch anymore, even though that number is just from Twitch. Those are hours that people are spending watching all kinds of other games. And you can monetize that with ads, you can monetize that with subscriptions, and that works really well at scale. But there's another way that we can monetize without you doing this at scale. And that's by turning those spectators into participants. Now, what does it mean to turn a spectator into a participant? Well, it turns out that this is a fantasy for participants, for spectators everywhere.
Now by 7, final play for Detroit.
The only thing that would make this any better is overtime.
They'll need a miracle to win this football game. Aaron slots right, drops back. Hines takes the pass at the 30. With the seam! Wow! Can you believe it? One man to beat! We're headed to overtime!
Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here.
Field goal for the win! Oh!
All right, so I've never actually done that, but I have changed the outcome of a game I've been watching, because Twitch now lets you connect to feed, the viewer feed, and you can actually fire off events in the game based on things that the users type in. And it looks a little bit like this. No, not like that. It looks a little bit. Would you hit play on that for me? Thank you.
Oh, I'm gonna pick the bear. Bearzuka it is, yeah. I'm excited.
Big hurt, can't go wrong there. This guy's ginormous.
So those two are the leaders and the warlords, and now they're going to recruit spectators to play with them.
We need a scout still. Ready up.
All right, we have an entire team of scouts. We definitely need some soldiers.
Except all these viewers, these participants, are independently thinking entities, and they don't necessarily do what the warlords want.
Okay, yeah, West, A5 sounds good. Yeah, trust it, definitely scavenge. We need some points. Yes, watch out for their warlord. They're gonna move to the right.
So the warlord is hoping all of the individual participants are doing the right thing. However, sometimes they don't.
It's not a joke, CJ.
Oh, yes!
It's not hard to do this. For example, we can create an object in, this is Lumberyard, for example. You can create a sphere, and then once you've created a sphere, it's really easy to go ahead and create a impulse object. Create the impulse object, it'll make the sphere bounce up. We're going to go ahead, we're going to drag a on start object over. We're going to instantiate the Twitch stream here, and we're going to go ahead and look for the keyword bounce down here. And when we launch it, it's going to go ahead and instantiate the Twitch channel, look for someone typing in the word bounce, and when it sees the word bounce, it's going to go ahead and fire the impulse object on the sphere, and it causes the sphere to bounce. Okay, that's really how easy it is to set this up. And with Twitch, you can ask people to pay for it, so that if you've got a battle going on, your participants, your spectators, can say, hey, for 99 cents, you can buy 3 power-ups. And you can drop those power-ups on teams that you like, kind of like, you know, you did in Hunger Games. You're one of the sponsors, and you're dropping these power-ups on your tributes inside the battle arena. And for 99 cents, if you can get some small fraction of that 4.8 billion hours to start paying you to participate in the game, pretty soon you're not going to measure success in player retention. You're going to start measuring success in viewer retention. Kind of like every other mature industry is counting viewers and as opposed to necessarily participants. So the 3 things I want you guys to think about to generate more money from the intellectual property you've already developed is doing something insanely easy and low cost like selling T-shirts. Oh, by the way, the waiting list for that is seriously 12 months long. If you want to be put into the front of the line, send email to me. My email address is on the next slide. Send me email, send me a link to your game, and I can make sure you get to the front of the line so that you can get in the program. Build a fan base. It'll help generate more activity for your game, and then turn those fans into participants by taking the game that you're building now and actually put in some ways that they can participate that you can monetize. Guys, I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you actually can run more profitable, successful businesses and include more people into having fun with your game as a result. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. That's great. Does anyone